I've never done a podcast with somebody less than half my age. And statistically, 4% of businesses survive the third generation. Again, statistically, 4% of the world are entrepreneurs. It's 4% of the people that employ, the rest 96%. And I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I was probably 15 when I started my first business. It was a side hustle. Oh, it's fun. This is as close of a real life Fortnite you get to play.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So then you collect a few friends who are there for you in your down times, because entrepreneurship will have a lot of low times. And my standard line is, who's going to be around you when you're in the trenches or the sewers?
Yeah.
We call it artificial general intelligence. Once we reach that level, we think it's going to be the last invention.
Welcome to the Millionaire podcast, where we interact with people who've changed a million lives.
This time we have none other than Ravi Machani, Managing Director of the Machani Group, an 80-year-old family-run business by third-generation entrepreneurs.
First off, I'd like to say it's an honor to have you here. And so, thank you so much for coming on this podcast. So before we start, why don't you introduce yourself? Why don't you say a little bit about yourself and what you do exactly?
Sure. Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Arnav. It's an absolute joy to be here, and it's special for me in a few ways. I've never done a podcast with somebody less than half my age, so it's exciting. And for me, it's an opportunity to learn from you too. So I want it to be a meaningful conversation, and I want to share, I think, what's worth sharing with your generation. So I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah.
The Machani Group is an 80-year-old family business run by third generation of entrepreneurs. So why don't you tell us about the history of the Machani Group?
Sure.
And how they've sustained over the years?
Sure. So our family business is technically 93 years old.
Okay.
We didn't register about 15 years of being in business back in the day. Early days. Technically, we are 93 years old. Practically, we're over 100 years old.
Wow.
That's right. So we've endured 3 generations of family business, and statistically 4% of businesses survive the third generation, right? So it is a tough space to be as a family business.
Yeah.
And I think the most difficult part of a family business is you expect the next generation of business owners to be entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And maybe in the future people will figure out, but nobody's figured out how to breed entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Right. And again, statistically, 4% of the world are entrepreneurs. It's 4% of the people that employ, the rest 96%.
4%.
4%.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's a hard breed to, I think there's a lot of nurturing and awareness that's still required. And I think things are getting much easier and friendlier. Our family business started in 1930. We had humble beginnings with a coal-fired bus that ran between 2 villages, moving people up and down. One thing led to another, and then from there, my grandfather's generation built India's largest transport network of the country.
Okay.
And we had our challenges in the 70s where India was in the hangover of, those days, USSR. And we used to nationalize businesses, and our family business got nationalized. So it's an interesting time when India as a country was more important than business or the family.
Yeah.
So a lot of family businesses went through, including Tata's and the aviation business, which we all know of, right? Yeah, we also have businesses today in auto components. We're in real estate. We do a social enterprise that's pretty big in scale. We have a AI venture studio, which I shared with you guys about. Quite excited to talk about it.
Yeah.
So fairly broad businesses,
Right.
including defense,
Right. Yeah.
assault rifles, sniper guns, ammunition, and also some business in simulators with AI and interesting next generation stuff.
Okay, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So you're the managing director. What exactly is the role of a managing director?
So I'm the guy who watches pretty much all the businesses in the family.
Okay.
I have an elder brother who runs the manufacturing business that we have in the family. That's
Yeah.
about now 63 years old. The company is called Stump Shule and Sumappa. We have nearly 2,000 people that work for us, and we make a few million springs a day.
Few minutes.
And we supply to pretty much all the OEMs of the country. OEMs are original equipment manufacturers,
Yeah.
buses, trucks, cars, motorcycles, everything, right? And that's an old legacy business that my elder brother runs. It's a very difficult business to run.
Yeah.
We make about 4,000 types of springs,
Okay.
and usually about 3 to 5 million springs a day. We have one operation in the US and about 9 plants to manage. It's a lot of kiosks and moving parts. So
Yeah.
that's a difficult business that he runs, and also started some defense businesses. I run the real estate business and a bunch of tech businesses and the social enterprise.
In the village.
In the village.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd like to talk to you about college. How do your experiences in college, shape your mindset for what you want to become an entrepreneur?
So I think there are 2-3 things that affect your mindset to entrepreneurship. I think the first thing is familiarity and what's okay at home.
Okay.
So some of us growing up in an entrepreneurial family completely underestimate what a huge mindset shift it is to actually be entrepreneurs, right? So for me, dinner table, family evenings was always with family business, and business was just what we did. So I didn't have any other identity, if you want to put it that way. So right in college, I was quite entrepreneurial back in college, and there were back in the day admissions that we used to help get and make some good money out of it too. So it's a long story for another day, but yeah, and I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I was probably 15 when I started my first business. It was a side hustle, but making money was always fun because it was not necessary, but fun to do.
It's fun to do. Okay.
Yeah, that's a big difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, so for children that are grown in a family where entrepreneurship is part of your daily life, we tend to underestimate what it takes for the families who come from the so-called security of a paycheck.
Okay.
Because you are used to seeing the entrepreneurs work from 5 to 9, not 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you have a mentor or a significant figure who shaped your approach towards business and entrepreneurship?
I think I've always had a mentor throughout my entire career.
Okay.
Right? And my best example would be going from here to HSR layout to, let's say, MG Road. One is to just start driving and figuring out the road along the way. The other is to use the GPS.
Yeah.
Right? So mentor is a good GPS to have, and you'll make less mistakes. You'll have guidance along the way, and experience unfortunately comes with age and having made enough mistakes and having been there, right? And it's really good to have a mentor along the way. So I've always had mentors. My first mentor was Rahul Parikh, my boss in the US.
Okay.
He was unbelievably good to me. I learned a lot about how to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot of risk-taking ability, and is one of the sharpest financial acumen entrepreneur I know. Then I had another boss at Delphi Automotive. His name was Ravi Machani. Then back here in India, I had Shekhar Narasimhan, somebody I met on a tennis court. He mentored me quite a bit, and now I have Ishwar Subramaniam, who's been guiding me quite a bit, and it's quite an interesting mentor to have.
So there's a growing sentiment amongst my generation. You're thinking like, oh, college is bad. That's not the right path to take to become an entrepreneur, to become successful. What are your views on that?
So I think college does a few things.
Yeah.
One of the things it does is get you some basic education.
Yeah.
That'll probably get into a job. So getting into a college doesn't hurt you to be an entrepreneur. If anything, it helps, right? And you also meet a lot of people. You learn skills, and I'm hoping that you learn enough in college to realize that in order for you to be successful, you need to take people along. teamwork is just where it begins, but this is a whole nother level of, inspiring people.
What would you say to the people who say that instead of doing 4 years of college, I'd rather do 4 years of business and gain experience in business?
So there are two different things. If you have financial compulsions and you have to earn money, maybe it's good to go and figure that out. And the other way to look at it is also, even if you're in college, it's probably a great place to do business. Who stops you from doing business in college?
Right.
I did that, and of course it was fun that it was optional, and it was a nice thing for me to do. But absolutely, I don't think they're really related. You can start a business anytime in your life. It's a choice.
Yeah.
So what does entrepreneurship mean to you?
Entrepreneurship is a choice of lifestyle where you take care of your own earnings,
Okay.
your time, you attract other people to get onto your mission. You give them hope, you show them how, and you stretch the resources that you have. So if I look at the fundamental difference between an entrepreneur and a so-called professional, a senior executive in a very large firm is rewarded for not taking the wrong decisions, and they're not required or expected to take risks,
Okay. Yeah.
and they don't stretch the money.
Right. Yeah.
They don't need to. They adequately finance these businesses, and it's usually a scale business where a lot of people are responsible for where the business goes. The opposite of it is entrepreneurship. Here you are a person who has to start a new business or an idea. You have to stretch resources. You have to make things possible,
Yeah.
and magic is required. You have to make it work.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So what's a piece of advice you'd say to aspiring entrepreneurs?
Start early,
Okay.
start safe. When you have a cushion,
Yeah.
it's always easier, and the more you do it, the more you get better at it. So it's like a muscle, like anything else. I think you exercise it, you start getting better. You also become comfortable at it,
Yeah.
because you are betting your time, your reputation, money. There's quite a few things besides just
Yeah.
just money at stake, right? So you just start getting comfortable with it.
Okay.
So I think just don't be afraid to lose. And the kind of entrepreneurship also you take depends on the stage and age in your life. Very early, you start a business where you don't want to lose,
Okay.
so you take safer bets then.
Yeah.
But as you grow older and you have enough wealth,
You just.
you start indulging sometimes even in hobby businesses, because it's okay to lose money.
Yeah.
you know.
Exactly. So what's a contrarian mindset, and do you relate with it?
Not necessarily. It's just not something that I'm familiar with at all, right?
A contrarian mindset.
Yeah.
Moving forward to something personal that I want to know, are you satisfied with your career ambitions? Like, this is what you wanted to do and now you are doing that. So are you satisfied with being an entrepreneur and doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
I must say, I think I'm extremely satisfied,
Okay.
because I think I had lower standards for myself very early on. I didn't expect to come this far. I think what makes it interesting is the fact that I came across very interesting people, and that kept changing my trajectory.
Yeah.
See, I came into a family business, and we had one family business that my elder brother, is running. So I had to very quickly pivot and figure out something that I would want to do as somebody who's used to having a family business. So I've had to invent myself, and it's perhaps the best thing that happened to me. So I have started about 11 businesses today, failed in 3, but still a good run rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Awesome.
think in the ones that really mattered, where the scale and stakes were too high, fortunately that game I won quite well with the team that we built.
Nice.
So if I look at how I stack myself against how would I imagine myself, I think I did pretty damn good. What I'm very proud of, and didn't expect this, is the quality of the people that I collected along the way. Learned some very interesting lessons, right? you can't recruit the core team around you. You have to collect them.
Okay.
Then you collect a few friends who are there for you in your downtimes, because entrepreneurship will have a lot of low times.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have enough people who'll pull you up,
Yeah.
because you will go down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And my standard line is, who's going to be around you when you're in the trenches or the sewers?
Yeah. Yes.
Are your
That's what
people
matters
going?
the most.
Yeah. So who says you can't have fun either in trenches or so? You could, right? In your worst of times, if you have the best of the people that pull you up, I mean, makes the journey worth it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really fun
Yes.
if you make it fun.
Yeah. So moving forward, let's talk about your AI ventures. So what's the next new AI venture studio?
So the first time I heard artificial intelligence was perhaps in 2013.
Mhm.
It was a fascinating concept that came out of Stanford University, where they were analyzing images, and this computer box figured out what was there in the image. I remember 30,000 images it took for a computer to understand a cat or a cat. And that led to me making an investment in 2015. I invested in a startup that was working on artificial intelligence. Now, having made that investment in AI startup got me familiar with it. And as I got familiar, I also got more, I'd say, perhaps bold. And around 2018, I was very sure that I wanted to do something in AI. A, because it was fascinating.
Yeah.
B, because can I imagine a future without it? The answer was absolutely no.
No.
C, were we early? Hell yeah. And it was a great time to be early.
Yeah.
Damn, on looking back, hindsight, it was a damn good move. So we're all in our AI venture studio. Perhaps very few in India are there of this kind and caliber. The next new AI venture studio has 6 companies. I'll start with, we have a gaming studio that uses all Gen AI to develop games, mobile first.
Okay.
Bit of a sandbox, we're learning a lot, and we've built a shooting simulator for the defense.
Do you
in
play
India.
this game sometimes yourself?
It's pretty cool. I encourage you guys to try it out.
Yeah.
It's
What is
pretty
it called?
fascinating style. We call it Shravya.
Yeah.
So
Do you enjoy playing it?
Oh, it's fun. This is as close of a real life Fortnite you get to play.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So Shravya is a shooting simulator on screens with real guns that are modified to give you the recoil, and you get as close of a near experience of shooting as you can. So
Okay.
that's one of the AI Venture Studios startups. We have another one called Indie Village, which I talked about. We do a lot of AI services there. We have robotics, where
Okay.
we're building now humanoids in Bangalore. We started our life with partnership with a very interesting humanoid called Sophia, the robot.
Yes, I
Right.
saw that.
The
Yeah, I
robot,
came
yeah.
to see.
So it's a very, very cool humanoid robot.
Yeah.
And we have added some AI to it, and we're on a very different trajectory from Sophia, but still very much a cousin of Sophia.
It's Ria now,
And
right?
now it's become Ria.
Yeah.
What is the future of humanoids, and how do you think it will impact our life in the coming 10 years?
So I would say by 2030,
Mhm.
that's not too far,
Yeah.
humanoids will be part of a lot of people's daily lives. Today, the challenge is more on the mobility and physicality of a humanoid robot, because the AI is getting there really fast.
Yeah.
I think it was this week that ChatGPT 4 Turbo was released,
Mhm.
Oh, really?
and a lot of really interesting updates, right?
So after ChatGPT was released, people started recognizing the power of AI. People started getting threatened by AI. They started believing that jobs will be lost. So my point of view is that AI is something that should assist human beings, not to substitute them. So what's your point of view on this? Do you think AI can be a threat to humans?
The truth is, nobody knows.
Mm.
Okay.
We all guess what the future looks like.
Okay.
and usually the outcome is dependent on things that we are not able to forecast at all, right? So I actually don't have an opinion. What I do know is artificial intelligence will become so intelligent that it'll surpass the cognitive abilities of humans.
Right. Yes.
And once the cognitive abilities of AI surpass humans, we call it artificial general intelligence. Once we reach that level, we think it's going to be the last invention.
Yeah.
Because if AI can do a better job of inventing themselves, what have we got to do our roles? I'm sure we'll have some roles, but
So it
things are going to
does-
look drastically different. But I won't necessarily be afraid of it, because I don't think any of us can change the course of what we've already started.
So are you implying that it poses a threat to humanity?
Because it can self-reproduce.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is definitely concerns.
Yeah.
And if you go
Okay.
check on YouTube, and really, really smart people are concerned, right? And I don't think that's not really founded with, solid base. There is basis to be, I think, concerned. But I think overall it's like electricity. When electricity came around too, people were really afraid. So were they with computers. Same thing is happening with AI. I don't think any of us can stop it.
Yeah.
You might as well be ahead of the curve
Yeah.
and be part of the camp that benefited from AI rather than blame it.
So Machani Robotics is building humanoids.
Mhm.
Can you specify what can the humanoid capable of? The humanoid is
Right.
capable of?
So the humanoids that we are building is here to take care of the loneliness for assisted living seniors
Okay.
at this point of time. I must very clearly say that it's the beginning of a journey, because it's a convenient journey and it solves a very large problem.
So
in
companionship,
the United States.
right?
Senior companionship is a starting point.
Starting point.
But think of a humanoid today as the pre-iPhone era,
Okay.
Okay.
when there was Nokia, BlackBerry,
Yeah.
Sony, HP iPac, Kyocera.
Okay.
There were quite a few smartphones. And the early years where nobody's really dominating the space,
Yeah.
Yes.
right? Think of the humanoid current status as that. So very soon there are going to be some dominant players in the humanoid industry and a business, and then the whole market dynamics and things will shift. So it's going to be very, very interesting play out.
So what are like a few challenges you faced while designing these humanoids?
So the humanoids are robots
Yeah.
that live in human environment and have, of course, similarities to humans.
Yeah.
Right? This is a very difficult journey to embark on and super expensive. So there's some good things that worked for us, and I'll talk about the difficulties too, because I think it's important to recognize what went for us. So Dr. David Hansen is a scientist that came out of Disney Labs and is perhaps among the finest roboticists in the world,
Yeah.
right? And he made Sophia, the robot. It's the most humane looking robot right now. And that's the basis on which Ria is also being built. Ria is very similar to Sophia, but has a few interesting differences. But now we are partnering with Hanson Robotics. It's the most humane looking robot right now. And that's the basis on which Ria is also being built. Ria is very similar to Sophia, but has a few interesting differences. But now we are partnering with Hanson Robotics. We have been partnering with them for the last 4 years. So we had an easier ride, I would say, compared to most humanoid companies. Because starting a humanoid company from the scratch is super hard,
Yeah.
right? So we've had a great start. Definitely ChatGPT,
Right.
right? That's the obvious one. Then there are these hardware advancements that most people are not aware of. They're called harmonic drives. So these are very precision motors that transmit the movements of the robot. Then definitely compute. This is going to require a lot of compute. So the more advanced computing is, better the.
So that is like the brain of the robot, right?
Yeah.
Compute. Okay.
So think of a robot with a bunch of capabilities, and we call that multimodal AI, right? All different types of AI it
Right.
needs
Yeah,
to process. So it needs to see, it needs to hear, it needs to talk, it needs to move. There's a lot of things that it needs to do, all put together. And then it has to read human faces, it has to read your emotions, it has to read your expressions.
Do you
So
think
what it's
AI
gotta
will be
do.
capable of reading human emotions?
Absolutely. And I believe there's a company already, a friend actually, Effectiva is the name of the company. Her name is Dr. Anada. She's been working on it for a while. Computers can absolutely read expressions, emotions, micro expressions, way more than humans can.
Way more. So
Way more.
very complex understanding.
Eventually.
But that might not always be accurate, right?
Of course, there's a false negative,
Yeah.
so it can read a few things wrong. But that's
So that is done basically by the expressions of the human?
right
Body
now,
language
yes.
expressions?
So there's, facial expressions and non-verbal communications too. And it depends on the culture and who's doing what. So,
Okay.
but answer is yeah, it's getting there. It will get there. It's early days,
Yeah.
but it's getting there.
It's like Nokia to iPhone.
Yeah, it'll get there.
Yeah.
So what is the school of AI started by you?
So the School of AI was started by my co-founder,
Mm-hmm.
Rohan Shravan.
Oh, Rohan.
That is not mine.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very much Rohan Shravan's baby, and
Yeah.
still is. I play a support role there. He's trained about 7,000 engineers in about 6 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I must give a lot of credit to Rohan to where we are in our AI Venture studio.
Yeah.
He is perhaps among the brightest minds of the country,
You went to IIT, right?
IIT Kharagpur.
Yeah.
And he's always worked on AI for, I don't know, maybe 12, 14 years.
Great. So when it
Very early
started.
days. Very early days.
Yeah.
So he's very experienced for where AI is today.
Okay. So getting back to Indie Village, what exactly is Indie Village? There are two units, I assume. One is Indie Village Foundation, which is an NGO, and one is the Indie Village Data Processing Unit, right?
Right. So Indie Village was started in 2010,
Yeah.
Jan 6, so it's a special day, that's why I remember it. It came out of a very special interaction with Dr. Abdul Kalam. He's still my inspiration in so many ways. I've never felt that way before or after that Dr. Abdul Kalam moment. So he asked if there's any way I could proactively contribute to betterment of rural India. One of his, regrets for India was urban India is doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are 600,000 villages in India. Why are we leaving them behind?
That's equalized.
Is there a social experiment that you can do?
Yeah.
See what is possible. So we looked at how to bring digital jobs
Yeah.
to rural India. So that's how we started Indie Village. It's a for-profit social enterprise.
Okay.
For-profit because you can attract the right, better talent. And we use all the proceeds of Indie Village, 100% of it, for community upliftment and of course the cost that it takes to run. Some of the profits are parked in the foundation.
Yeah.
And the foundation, I believe, is 4 to 5 years old. So it does a lot of good to the community. But it's a pure non-profit community.
How many villages have you guys set it up the foundation in till now?
We have about 6 centers today
Okay.
and about 700 people.
I don't like
And,
what states.
So we have 2 in Andhra Pradesh.
Mm-hmm.
We have 1 in Karnataka in Raichur.
Okay.
Okay.
Then we have in Bassi. Then we have 1 in near Jaipur.
Okay, Jaipur.
Near
Jaipur, yeah.
Jaipur. And then I believe we have they're spread out all over the place.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So what's what was your thought process behind this? To equalize urban opportunities to rural opportunities, or rural opportunities to urban opportunities.
So I think economically starved regions
Yeah.
could always use a kickstart, right?
Yeah.
Now let's say having a couple of hundred digital jobs in rural India exposes the youth there to possibilities which otherwise they wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So think of it as a Stargate or a portal. let's say there is a lot of work that needs to be done in artificial intelligence services, for example, autonomous driving or surveillance drones, that information has to be analyzed by somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those kind of jobs, micro-tasked, analyzed, indexed, can go to rural India,
Yeah.
where they can do the work at a far lower price and a much higher quality,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
because they appreciate these cool jobs compared to what's around. Otherwise, their options are to work in the fields or a shop, or
Yeah.
not too many opportunities, you see.
Yeah.
So they're opportunity starved
Yeah. That's
versus urban areas which are already struggling with, all kinds of challenges, from infrastructure to
Right.
pollution to all kinds of challenges.
So you can implement humanoids in this, right? To teach maybe the younger generation residing in the rural areas, so that they can grow up, and so you're basically providing them an opportunity.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
Rural India has its challenges, right? See, 70% of the country still earn less than $2 a day. Few people know this. So India has many Indias, and the India that we are talking about that needs pulling up
Yeah.
is a lot of work still left.
Okay.
And I believe the next generation, will see the value in spreading out the work and stop clogging the urban cities, urban, infrastructure further. So COVID has done quite a bit of normalizing that challenge.
Okay.
There are now a lot more people who want to live better to work. They're not necessarily compromising everything for their careers. Right? It I think is good.
So how getting back to Tressa Motors,
Hmm.
so what drove you to the venture of inventing electric vehicles, that too heavy duty electric vehicles being developed?
So our journey started in Tressa Energy, as we called it, a few years ago.
Okay.
It was a startup that a couple of us came together and wanted to build motors.
Mm-hmm.
The plans were a lot more humble back then, but then few interesting things happened, and I must say, again here Rohan plays a very critical role. He stepped up to a very interesting challenge, and Rohan and my path crossed with Vinod Dasari, who was the chairman and managing director of Ashok Leyland.
Okay.
He took that company from maybe 2,000-3,000 crores to 30,000 crores.
Okay.
Wow.
Some crazy number like that, right? And
So how much of an investment does a project like Tressa Motors take? Estimate.
It's going to take eventually thousands of crores.
Setting
but
up the
they'll come,
plant,
yeah.
manufacturing unit?
Oh yeah, it'll take, according to me, at least 600 crores, but it
Okay.
will take also 3,000 crores, not too far from there, that stage. So it all depends on crawl, walk and run.
Yeah.
Crawl is all about proving what's possible, proof of concept, a fully working, approved prototype that you can sell. Then you got to walk. Then you got to find customers, which I think we already have. Fortunately,
Definitely.
we have a very experienced team working on Tressa Motors.
Yeah.
I think in the country it doesn't get better than Vinod Dasari to lead such a challenge.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not only and
But don't you think the price of Tressa Motors heavy duty transportation vehicles prices are still going to be higher than as comparative to a petrol
Yeah.
vehicle?
that's hardly a concern,
Yeah.
because look at a truck fleet
Mm-hmm.
that is getting charged by a solar farm.
So long run it will cover
Solar
up the
farm.
expenses.
Yeah,
A solar farm, so you don't need any infrastructure to charge it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
long run, it will
brilliant
basically
idea,
Cover up the
actually.
expenses
just think
of
about
petrol.
the cost of charging electric trucks,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and think of them as mega battery banks.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you're taking the juice from the sun,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you can, since they're trucks, they already have wheels.
Mm-hmm.
They can go to solar farms and get fully charged and come.
Right.
Yeah.
Super
right.
sustainable.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Sustainable.
So in that case, if you look at the total cost of ownership or the life of the truck, this change is inevitable, and there's only one way it's going to go. It's going to go electric.
Okay. How do you
Yeah.
plan to integrate AI into this?
So our very ambitious dream is to build the most intelligent truck in Tressa. Right? And that comes from our ability to bring in some of the AI tech that we have in other fields. Right? Rohan is also this celebrity AI engineer that has got another startup with him called Inkers.
Incas AI.
Right? He has a high fidelity scanning technology that is put together.
Okay.
Right? It's among the finest out there, and that technology can be used for trucks to record, relay its journey, so that it can automatically adapt and adopt to different situations.
So safety of the truck drivers are a major concern in India, and most of the accidents in the national highway are caused by trucks. So have you guys figured out a solution for the safety of the truck drivers?
So there will be safety features that are going to be novel and new. One of them is to keep in-dash camera.
Okay.
You have to figure out the privacy aspect of it, but if it comes to life, it comes to life, right? If the glucose levels of the driver comes down and they seem drowsy, it'll give a few warnings, and after that it'll not.
Just
it's-
power of,
yeah.
Okay.
take you the
So
side.
things like that, right?
So it'll
These
prevent
are-
the truck drivers from sleeping while driving.
yeah, sleeping from. Today the solutions are very crude, and I've seen a couple of crude
Yeah.
ways to avoid that. One of the largest fleet operators actually requires the drivers to put their finger in a certain slot in every few minutes and wiggle or something of that sort to let them know. It's
So it's Tesla
kind of like
motors.
Tesla. I don't know if you guys have seen
Yeah, yeah.
Tesla. Every few minutes you have to just shake the
Oh, really?
I was going to ask
steering a
something
bit.
like that only. Is Tesla Motors by any chance inspired by Teslas?
So we wanted people to ask this question. It's intentional. Tressa stands short for Trisanu,
Trisano.
which is a Sanskrit word for a quark or a subatomic particle.
Okay.
So it's also a tribute to our scientific prowess back in those thousands of years ago. Our knowledge on science was just perhaps among the best in the world.
Yeah.
Among the best in the world. We did have, of course, some rivals, but we were among the best in the world back then. So in a way, we wanted people to guess if it's a shallow
Yeah.
Tesla-sounding name.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not.
It's
But we
not-
wanted people to
yeah.
ask this question.
Yeah, it's not.
It's a
Gives you the
beautiful name.
opportunity to,
Yeah.
be
But-
proud of our heritage, right?
Yeah, but the trucks look oddly similar to the Cybertrucks, like the Cybertrucks of Tesla.
I think the Tressa Model 1 looks more like Darth Vader.
That
Then-
yeah, that
then,
definitely reminds me of. Yeah.
I would say a Cybertruck. So there's a trick behind it.
Yeah.
Fine finishing and smooth surfaces and curves are extremely expensive to make. Here you just cut up, think of it as a paper that you cut and just solder and you're done.
Okay.
So this is a prototype.
Yeah.
You're only showcasing
Right.
that the truck and the chassis and the gliders, as we call it, prove those technologies. And the cabin is a compromise, but
Yeah.
also we wanted to give it a very unique look.
Yes.
So the cabin is a compromise because it doesn't have air conditioning and beautiful seating and all those things yet,
Yeah.
right? And depending on different levels of funding that comes into the company, we'll have money to allocate towards these design, engineering, and execution, right? So for now, I think our cabin is designed to catch your attention, and of course, it's done its job. People like how it looks, and
Yeah.
it's fairly aggressive, and it definitely grabs your attention.
Yeah.
Do you believe that Tressa Motors might have a major market share in the heavy duty vehicles in the future?
That's the absolute hope,
Okay.
and I think it should have a very interesting journey. Time will tell, but I think Tressa will do well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Looking forward to that. Definitely. So how do you see AI technology and robotics shaping real estate, the future of real estate?
So every business in the world is going to be redefined by artificial intelligence. And I'm going to quote Peter Diamandis here. Within 3 years, there will be good companies proactive that will adopt AI and move really ahead, and those that don't, who very soon are not going to be around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no choice here. So every industry is going to be redefined.
Did you integrate AI with your real estate companies?
Oh, yes, we did in some ways, although not a whole lot, because we feel that at this point of time, our time and energy is better utilized in electric commercial vehicles
Yeah.
and robotics and inkers,
Definitely. Yeah.
because the returns are far superior at this point of time. But let's say a few PropTech engineers want to come, or domain experts want to come and design some solutions with real estate meets AI, absolutely possible. We have used some, but
Yeah.
not a whole lot.
Okay.
And simply it's just time and money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MGB Real Estate focused on developing malls, commercial areas, So, when designing these properties, what do you keep in mind, when you want to meet the needs of a modern consumer?
First thing is MGB Felicity Mall is my cousin's in Nellore, right? So he's
Okay.
done I think a phenomenal job of building this mall ahead of its time for Nellore, which is a tier 2 town. What we're building in Koramangala is going to be called Regalium.
Okay.
It's quite special to us because it's going to be innovation meets luxury.
Okay.
A space that we're not familiar with, but I'm pretty sure we will get very familiar with.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. There aren't too many examples of it either, right? So using technology in real estate to save money, or to make things better, or to get the experience right, all of these are
Yeah.
going to define the kind of company you're going to be. And remember, golden rule in any business that adopts AI seriously, in 1 year they get ahead by about 7 years.
Okay.
So we call that the dog years,
Yeah.
right? So in 3 years, if you're a power user of AI in your core business, you're going to be ahead by 21 years. It's a
Okay.
lot to catch up.
1 year
with,
equates to 7 years.
right?
That's
Right.
okay.
So the dog years are super hard to catch up with.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't matter which business you're in, you have to adopt AI as soon as possible, so that at least you can keep up with where the world's headed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, why do you choose your first Swasa Homes project in Baswangudi?
So my whole career in real estate is a function of what's good for our family business.
Mm-hmm.
So our family had a few manufacturing plants
Off?
making auto components.
Okay.
So that business is what came to me to manage, and I decided to break the business into two different operating company and holding company.
Mm-hmm.
The operating company I did something with. I sold the majority of the share to an investor who came from the US. Then we had the land that we wanted to either sell or give it out to a developer.
Yeah.
Then I looked at the number of land parcels we had as a family,
Yeah.
and it made sense since we had enough land parcels, which actually meant that we had the runway worthwhile building a business and a team for.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have family land and other people land also we could develop. So we said there's a good opportunity to build a proper business. So you always build a great team that builds great results for you as a business.
Yeah.
No one entrepreneur can pull anything off. So I think we have a fantastic team that started life in Baswangudi.
Yeah.
But we started in Baswangudi, but
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll finish it somewhere more exciting.
Where? Why are you looking to branch out?
I meant even in real estate.
Yeah.
I think the future of real estate is also defined by what AI can do. For example,
Okay.
one of the investments I made in real estate is called alt real estate. Imagine being able to buy 1 square foot of Ubicity, because today you can buy 1 share in Tata Motors. Why can't you buy 1 square foot in Ubicity or 1 building in MG Road?
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It should be able to buy.
And then that AI will give you rent according to 1 square feet. Do you plan that?
Exactly.
That's
Okay,
a brilliant
that's a
idea.
brilliant idea.
It is an interesting
Innovative,
idea,
never
right?
done before.
So if you have a share,
Yeah.
along with the share comes 1 square foot.
Yeah.
And as it appreciates, you actually have a physical asset attached to
Okay, and then
that's
you'll get
tokenized.
rents like dividends.
Absolutely right.
That's great.
So it's slice and dice economy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think if you save up, definitely can buy a square foot in UB City. That's
Oh, when do you plan to implement this?
so. This company is now about 2 years old, I think,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
and the website is altdrx.com. We are waiting for some regulations to come around, catch up, I should say,
Catch
Catch
up.
up,
Yeah.
with these innovative ideas, and started by 2 very good entrepreneurs, Anand and Avinash. So I'm the first investor in this company.
Investor.
So this is an example of where real estate is headed.
Okay.
There's a lot of innovation still left in real estate,
Yeah.
and the category is called PropTech.
Yeah.
There are some good examples around the world, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
So is this going to be launched like National Stock Commission, something like that?
That's the plan, because it's a exchange, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about what we already do. I don't have to guess. Today, inkers can flies drones with the box attached into the construction site.
Okay.
So we build a digital twin of exactly as is model that's work in progress.
Mm-hmm.
Now that compared to what it should have been, could have been, to a plan,
Yeah.
gives you a comparison as what it should have been and what it
What
actually,
it actually
is.
is. Okay.
Yeah.
And on there you have a comparison of progress, how much material has been used, guesstimates of all the accessories, the amount of processes that has been through, indirect reflection of how much work is done, what it costed, and how much effort and time it took.
So it helps you track the entire progress and the cost.
Absolutely.
So it reduces waste cost also.
Absolutely. And it also saves you a lot of time and rework, because once it's scanning,
Yeah.
it's also looking for defects,
Mm-hmm.
mistakes that you correct at that stage.
Yeah.
So it's called in-process quality versus repairs and reworks.
Okay.
Just starting from that stage all the way to the end experience. The future of malls is as you walk in,
Yeah.
depending on the privacy laws,
Yeah.
we can guess your preference based on the brand that you're wearing.
Oh wow.
We can
Wow.
predict how much you'll spend in our stores and which stores are you likely to spend.
All done by humanoid or just AI camera?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cameras everywhere. So SSS Defense. What exactly do you manufacture?
So SSS Defense is the brainchild of my elder brother Satish.
Yeah.
He built this company SSS Defense, drew some initial inspiration and understanding knowledge from a company abroad, but it's completely indigenously researched, designed, developed assault rifles.
So in-house R&D, research and development.
In-house R&D.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're the only company, I think we're the
Okay.
only Indian company in its DNA from ground up to have built assault rifles and sniper guns, which
Sniper
is extremely
guns.
hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a marvelous technical feat for SSS Defense.
Okay.
And he also has a joint venture with a Brazilian multi-billion-dollar ammunition company called CBC. So he also makes ammunition in Anantapur.
Okay.
So this portion of the business is driven by my elder brother. All credits to him, and I get to enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
So who do you supply it to?
Indian defense,
Okay.
some exports,
So there are tenders for the Indian defense supply.
yes, and also exports. Right,
Mhm.
his large customer recently has been Armenia.
BN. Huh?
Armenia.
Armenia.
Armenia, okay.
Okay, the country.
Yeah.
Okay. So something we both are pretty interested to know.
Yeah, you should go to
Gross.
the factory there and go to the shooting range
Yeah.
and
yeah.
shoot a real gun. That's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, I'd like to try
That
the
sounds
simulator.
interesting, no?
Yeah,
We should go sometime
We should
soon.
go sometime.
So how does SSS Defense ensure the quality and the safety of its products?
So the lot of the quality comes from, we call it, it's a series of, it's like having a bunch of ducks in a row.
Hmm.
Okay.
You have to start with great design. You start with great engineering, great materials, great machines that process the raw materials, then in-process inspection, quality checks,
Yeah.
then assembly, then again testing. They're called subsystems that go into another
Yeah.
mega systems. So all the ducks have to be in a row, and all of them have to be working in tolerance levels that need to be in your watch grade, right?
Okay.
Really precision engineering. Because imagine a bullet is a trajectory that leaves a gun and has to be on target nearly a kilometer away for a sniper gun.
Yes, yes.
That's incredibly hard to do. So your barrel technology is extremely demanding,
Yeah.
from the material to processing. So it's precision engineering at its finest.
Yeah.
So what's the margin in this industry?
So defense businesses tend to be a lot more profitable in general. I would say 30 to 40% is not an unfair ask. I've seen defense companies make 70 to 80% margins too.
70 to 80% margin,
Absolutely.
That's when the supply side.
including research and development.
Yes.
Okay,
Wow, that's
that's
insane.
that's insane. That's
Yeah.
70 to 80%
Because,
margin.
well, I'll tell you, interesting company is a Israeli defense company called General Robotics.
Yeah.
They make robots for wars. So yeah, they make a lot of money.
So how do your companies collaborate with each other, if it does at all?
Between,
But like Incurs AI with real estate, construction.
it's a very interesting question. Think of it as very unique capabilities. Going to your education analogy, it's like asking how does physics, chemistry, and math and biology come together. You can choose to make them come together,
ID.
right?
Idea.
Yeah, and you can call it integrated learning,
Yeah.
right? Or if you're trying to design a humanoid, for example, there isn't a discipline of any education that's not used,
Yes,
from
yes.
psychology to
Everything. Yeah.
physics
Yeah.
to, I mean, what can you think of that
Body
you can't
language,
use? Everything,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
There's no
Everything's
end to
there.
what you can use. So depending on where you end up in your business, you are forced to bring in these disciplines. So
Okay.
it's interesting.
Yeah, we have a subject like that in school. It's called IDU, Interdisciplinary Unit.
They're very useful because your future is not going to be about knowing
One subject.
primary
One subject,
knowledge.
yeah.
The future is all about applied knowledge
Yeah.
and benefit realization and interesting concepts. So your education is going to be dramatically different than what worked for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dramatically different, because now knowing is not that important. So think of Iron Man having a Jarvis.
Yeah.
You guys already have a Jarvis, except it's not having volumetric
Exactly.
displays.
Yeah.
Not yet. Exactly.
Not yet.
Very soon we're going to have volumetric displays,
Yeah.
and you're going to be able to manipulate these objects in the air.
Yeah.
And I think Iron Man Jarvis is really around the corner.
You
I would
see
give
that
it a
in
year
Meta
or two.
though, right? Like the VR thing, Meta.
Oh, I think Apple's going to change the game.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
super excited about the Vision Pro.
Did it release yet?
There are, of
I think the
course,
release is in February.
yeah, but there are a lot of samples out there, reviews out there. I think the early bloggers or opinion influencers have some.
Have you got your hands on it yet?
Not yet.
What would
Should.
you name your Jarvis?
Oh, so really? Oh boy. I don't know. Maybe one of the sages from India.
Sages from
I'm
India?
always
Sages from
drawn
India.
to what is special in India, and
Okay.
is still
That's-
special.
that's
in
good.
India.
Tradition,
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
Okay. What future plans or innovations do you have in mind for Machani Robotics?
See, Machani Robotics is going to be perhaps a hardware-dominated company, because ChatGPT is always going to be ahead with the amount of resources and how far ahead they are to the rest of the world right now. There will be competition, and the future is AI is going to rule pretty much everything.
Okay.
Right? So for us to have a hardware, or let's say a finished physical manifestation that can take this artificial intelligence is actually a very unique place to be in life.
Yeah.
It's called embodied AI,
Embodied. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
right? You have AI on your phone or a laptop or on a screen is very different than
Yeah.
something that's
Something is-
physical.
yeah.
Physical,
In
yeah.
our environment, that's embodied AI.
Okay.
So that's very exciting for us.
Yeah.
And what it can do is pretty much limited to your imagination. It's like asking what your smartphone can do and cannot do.
Okay.
Whatever the physical limitations that a smartphone has is what it's limited at. But your imagination is what drives the depth and the width of what it can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much any app that you can think of that can function on your phone works and rocks, right? It's the same.
Yeah.
Right? The day your smartphone can walk, that's your first little pocket humanoid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So,
You see?
what's a notable achievement for you in this field?
I think as a family business, we have reimagined ourselves and redefined ourselves,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
we have pushed boundaries.
Right. Yeah.
That's very hard.
Mhm.
I think most families, after they've made some wealth,
Mhm.
go into a hyper mode of wealth conservation,
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
right? You start worrying about losing the wealth that you
Yeah.
already made.
Yes.
I must give a lot of credit to my father, who has been encouraging me to chase a few wild ones out there. It takes a lot of courage because it costs money and time and reputation.
Mhm.
So I think for a family that came from, I call it one trick pony, we were out of components making springs.
Yeah.
Today we have 11 businesses
Okay.
and 11 successful businesses. We've had a few failures as a family, but
Yeah.
that's hardly anything, few of them.
3. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
would be your estimate turnover combining all of your 11 companies?
Few thousand crores.
Okay.
I actually never put it together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, how do you maintain a balance between family business and modern entrepreneurship?
So family business doesn't necessarily have to be traditional, boring, brick and mortar,
Okay. Yeah. Right.
slow clock speed, old school business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
It's about the
construct
mindset.
that
Yeah.
we make. It's just like, I'm a student.
Hmm.
Do I have to finish college to be an entrepreneur?
Mhm.
Because entrepreneurship has nothing to do
Has
with it.
nothing
So it's
to
all
do-
about the mindset.
It's the mindset.
So, what are some key factors that have contributed to the long-term success of Machani Group?
I would say the family business culture and reputation in general in the world
Mm-hmm.
is pretty poor. When you think of family business, you think of mismanaged,
boring,
old school,
cornflakes,
brick and mortar,
yeah.
Toxic.
cornflakes,
Cornflakes.
toxic. All these words are absolutely the general image of a family business that they carry as a burden. At the IITs today, the Machani Group as a family business has the reputation of being progressive,
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurial, family culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Family culture.
Progressive, entrepreneurial, family culture.
Yeah.
And a family culture to me is a very nurturing, long horizon thinking DNA. So we
Okay.
take decisions that will affect our next generation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about my quarterly performance as a large publicly traded company would have to. So
Yeah.
our decision making horizon tends to be much longer. That's what makes family businesses special.
Okay.
So they can also endure a lot more difficulties than so-called professionals,
Mm-hmm.
because people all over the world are usually a lot more loyal to people than to a name or a brand or a company.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's why it took a Steve Jobs to make Apple what it was. If you notice, sometimes people are more dominant, sometimes the company is, but less likely they'll succeed without a strong.
Strong. Yeah.
What was the
CEO.
major challenge you faced while running the Machani Group businesses?
I think for the size of a business that we are,
Mm-hmm.
we do have a lot of variety. So I think it's the variety that's a bit challenging, but I also think it's the strength. And,
diversification of the
diversification is also a strength. A lot of times, the entrepreneurs has to choose what works for them, not necessarily go down the path that's, considered best. Like for me, it's the variety that keeps me learning.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I learn bleeding edge stuff sometimes from, let's say, inkers
Yeah.
that I get to apply in real estate.
Yeah.
I don't see the real estate industry, which is a slow clock speed, literally a brick and mortar industry, figuring out customer acquisition cost,
Yeah.
or
Customer lifetime
let's
value.
say CRM of bleeding edge thinking, or sniper targeting of customers, or let's say how to go after customer clusters. These are all not traditionally in real estate business, and they usually have a catch up to do. And faster businesses, more volatile businesses, the clock speed is much faster, so you have to learn much faster to even survive.
Yeah.
So for you, at this point, it's just fun.
I'm
Integrating
enjoying
businesses.
work.
Yeah.
I never thought my work would be this fun. And,
Pain is pleasure.
hmm?
Pain is pleasure.
There's no pain.
No, the pain of work.
No, it's been absolute pleasure, because I think as a family we made enough money in real estate,
Mm-hmm.
and it's good to bet some of the chips, not all of them,
Yeah.
some of the chips in high risk, high return, high volatility, high tech,
Yeah.
high clock speed AI startups.
Mhm.
It's so different than manufacturing or real estate. That doesn't mean they're bad. They're just different
Yeah.
businesses, right? And it's the variety that keeps it exciting. And as a family, we've learned to value what it means to create active wealth creation
Okay.
versus passive wealth conservation. They're very
Yeah.
different approaches, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you need to do both.
Yeah.
You need to do both.
So you're enjoying work, right? How does
I'm enjoying work too much, I think.
too much? How does a day to day, how does a day in your life look like?
So, if I had a job, I'd probably work 9 to 5. Now it's 5 to 9.
Yeah.
I don't know when work starts and when work ends, but I don't mind it at all,
Yeah.
because I'm talking to the people that I want to talk to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on things that fascinate me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in places where I choose to be, and I see the movement of the needle, right? And it's very gratifying, super gratifying. So I really enjoy this, and it's become second nature to me. So if you ask who I am, I have to wonder if I'm, an Indian or a father or a husband or a business owner, and if I want to choose business owner, I don't know which business to choose.
Yeah.
So I get asked very often, so what do you do?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I should talk about real estate where I make the most money right now. But that's right now. I don't know if it's going to be my destiny forever. Real estate is where I probably see most success. Or I can say we have an AI venture studio, because that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I'm struggling for identity as what business do I really do?
Yeah.
And there aren't too many examples like this at all, or India or anywhere else,
Yeah.
because it's quite unlikely for family businesses to venture into so many high-tech startups.
Exactly. Yeah.
And a lot of that credit goes to, I think, the caliber of technical team that we have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your criteria while recruiting the technical team?
I think for me, most of the credit goes to Rohan Shravan,
Okay.
my co-founder. Our paths crossed through an investment. I made an investment into his founded company called Inkers.
Mm.
And then as soon as COVID hit, we both had to put our heads together and work really hard. And we spent a lot of time in Goa. I think that helped.
Oh, okay.
So in Goa, right in the beginning of COVID, facing near death for sure
Yeah.
for Inkers,
Mhm.
we had to pivot or die.
Yeah.
So that forced us to think through a lot, and the quality of time that we spent and the way we were able to build on each other's ideas made all the difference.
Yeah.
And he's one of the smartest people you can find
So
in
trust
India.
plays an important role here.
Massive. At the end of the day, I'd say trust and respect, as EO says, right, are the foundation layers for any relationship.
Yeah.
And it's super important to
Yeah.
trust each other, especially in business. Yeah.
Do you take job interviews by yourself?
I do sometimes. I did one last week. The reason is, for a family business that we are,
Mm-hmm.
we can't recruit. We have to collect.
Yeah.
And the anchor and crucial roles, I have to get involved,
Mm-hmm.
because that's perhaps the best use of my time.
Right.
I keep reminding myself, I have to build an amazing team that will build an amazing business for all of us,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right? Without a great team,
Yeah.
you don't go far.
I really, really respect how you prioritize social welfare alongside environmental impact while making sure all your business are doing well. I think that's what it means to be a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
I really respect that. So how do you ensure that?
So I think a lot of it comes from common sense, which is, I think, required for this day and age.
Yeah.
If you're a pure capitalist, you probably chase pure profits.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You must have heard triple bottom line, right?
Yeah.
Triple bottom.
Profit,
Bottom.
people, planet.
Planet, yeah.
But I think there are many, many more currencies other than just financial currency,
Okay.
and things like aesthetic currency. Swasa is an example of how you contemporize heritage India
Mhm.
with modern living in an apartment.
Yeah.
Classic intersection
Yeah.
that should have been obvious, but I don't know why it took us as a manufacturing company to come into real estate
Yeah.
and start this. Why do we need to ape the West
Yeah.
and name some ridiculous Western names and make it
Yeah.
an aspiration?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Why?
Right? We are among the oldest continuous living civilization,
Yeah.
and we are spoiled for choices for inspiration and identity.
Right.
Why would you be
Yeah.
so callous to go chase something that you don't need to? I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's not worth doing, but so that's
Yeah.
it's very inspiring to be at work.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking at your diversified portfolio, would you like to share the importance of having a diversified portfolio?
I'll talk about the features
Mhm.
of a diversified portfolio and the benefits of it. The features of a diversified portfolio makes your businesses more evolved than others, because you have to deal with different industries, different environments, different
Yeah.
skill sets, different
Mhm.
strengths. The benefits are, you have a alternate cash flows.
Okay.
So for any reason, automotive doesn't do well, real
Mhm.
estate may do well, or if you notice what happened in COVID,
Yeah.
80% of the business is lost.
Yes.
5% didn't change much. 15 made a killing.
Mm.
So you
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
spread your bets a bit. So we
Yeah.
want to stabilize these old school brick and mortar businesses that bring in stability with high tech, high risk,
Mhm.
high growth businesses.
Is
They
there
do
any
very
particular
different things.
industry you want to expand into?
I think if I had to choose an industry,
Hmm.
I'm passionate about defense.
Okay.
I think India's still a long way to go.
Yeah. You told me about that.
A long way to go. I'm passionate about defense, and I wish it were much easier to do business in defense. I would say there's us as a country, we're doing far better than we did in the past. We still have some ways to go. There's a lot of intention now.
Are we powerful?
Do you think Indian military can beat China and US?
I'll stay completely out of this one.
Okay.
Answer is no.
Answer is no.
Answers no.
A quick no. I don't
Why?
think we'll last more than 3 days fighting China.
Because of our ammunition. Or what is it exactly?
I think that is too far ahead.
Yeah.
With the technology or with human resources?
Technology.
Okay.
I would give a lot more credit to Indians on this side, who are
Mhm.
far better spirited, I
Yeah.
think, than the Chinese and motivated, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
But there's only so much bravado can hold.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I mean, I should be careful how I say this, but
Okay.
I think is unfair. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I feel we should do a lot more in India in defense.
Yeah.
And a lot of progressive, even family offices can come behind this business because they usually have patient capital compared to, angels or VCs, you know.
Okay.
So defense is something that could do wonders to this country.
What's your opinion on the tax regulations in India?
Don't claim to be an expert here, but I think taxes and death are the only two certainties in your life. So every country has its ups and downs, but as entrepreneurs, you never plan life around taxes. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? I'm sure you respect it, and there are people who will come around, but you have much bigger problems to solve than taxes. And once you make money is when you pay taxes. So it's usually
So
an
the first step
afterthought.
is to make money, and then it's to worry about
It's usually an afterthought to most entrepreneurs. I'm not suggesting this by any stretch, but it's just how it's been for me.
But does it bug you? Like, oh my.
Not at all.
paying 30% taxes in India?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It bothers me that our taxes should be used 10 times better. That bothers me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't hurt me to pay taxes. At the end of the day, it is a responsibility as successful business owners. Look at any economy in the world. The engine of any country are entrepreneurs. It's because entrepreneurs build businesses, employ people, make money, make profits and taxes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the taxes on which the country runs.
Yep.
So you take these engines out of the countries, you have only vehicles with no engines in them. And it happened to Eastern Bloc after communism. What is communism? You kill those entrepreneurs. So there is responsible capitalism that's really good for a country as a concept, but at the end of the day you really need entrepreneurs. So it's these entrepreneurs who create wealth and value, and paying taxes is good.
Yeah.
It's just that all of us are collectively responsible to make sure our taxes are put to better use.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to become Prime Minister for a day, what would be the first step you would take?
I wish I could be Prime Minister for more than a day. Because that's perhaps the most difficult role in this country, right? See, if I would encourage entrepreneurship.
Okay.
And I would design systems for good entrepreneurs rather than building systems to catch the bad ones.
Okay.
I would write off these as collateral damage. Yeah. It's like you trust.
can't help.
You build a high trust environment so that, take for example, stores that sell you goods that have 15-day no questions asked return policy. It's a leap of faith. I think that's what I would do as the first step. I would build a high trust ecosystem for entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Business moves at the speed of trust.
Yeah, right.
But if you take everything as collateral damage, everyone will be like, this experimenting.
But then I think the good people are going to cover up for the collateral damage. The good entrepreneurs and the trust in the market.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, entrepreneurs always stretch the money.
Yeah.
So they're already doing wonders to your economy, right? And these are the people who are willing to work harder. I mean, these guys, ours are all unapologetic.
So if you had to become a minister for a day, which portfolio would you choose in India?
I'm good at business as an entrepreneur. I would build a business concierge and leverage my global network from YPO, EO, CEO, and sell the hell out of India and bring in ideas.
The finance portfolio.
entrepreneurs. That's a commerce.
Okay.
Commerce would be my sweet spot.
You encourage entrepreneurship, but if everyone became an entrepreneur, say if everyone became an entrepreneur, who's going to work? Who's going to,
I think this problem already exists in Gujarat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All are doing businesses.
I think the Gujaratis has the highest entrepreneurial population. So, but I don't think that's a problem.
Because people from other places migrate for jobs, right?
No, but then there's overpopulation in India. How are you going to?
I don't seeing this being a problem. because to be an entrepreneur, it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
One. Secondly, entrepreneurs usually figure out a lot more than an average employee would, because they don't have the burden that an entrepreneur, is willing to bear. So it's a lot of work to be an entrepreneur, and businesses are very fragile in the first few years.
Right.
If you look at a business and its life, and let's say 0 to 10, 10 being a big unicorn,
Yeah.
the 0 to 1 is your ideas. You need to find your co-founders. You got to find some money.
Yeah.
You got to sell a dream, and the first 20 people will make or break your business.
Okay.
So again, at that time, you can't recruit. Again, you have to collect, right? And one wrong person in the 20 can also break the company down.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and there's nowhere to hide. So the early years are pretty hard.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to thank you for coming on here to the Millionaires podcast, the first ever episode. Yeah.
So before we wrap this up, would you like to provide us advice?
A parting note to the audience.
I think it'd be lovely to see something mainstream in entrepreneurship for high school.
Yes.
There is
Okay,
something
absolutely.
called as Young Entrepreneurs Academy that I've heard of, and I haven't honestly spent much time there. That way, making entrepreneurship a lot more tangible and real early does a lot of good to the world, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? Because at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, you're taking responsibility to deliver value for more than yourself. The whole game of entrepreneurship is about we, before me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right? It's a very different mindset. So that would be really nice, and I'm glad I'm having a conversation with you and your age group, because it's not cool to just glorify entrepreneurship, because it's a bloody ton of work.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work. But if you normalize it, and if there are enough people going for it, definitely the world is going to be a better place.
Okay.
So I encourage, whoever has the luxury or the ability, or just the risk appetite, or just plain downright simple crazy enough to try it,
Yeah.
go for it. Don't be afraid to fail. Right? And I would love to see a lot more entrepreneurship coming out of schools of India
Yeah.
than just the IITs of India.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yes. That's
Right.
actually the first step we
Yeah.
should take, I think. Yeah.
I really enjoyed this.
We loved it as well. We learned a lot.
loved it as well. We learned a lot from you.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
So we should call it off now.
Yeah. That's it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.